it. Go live. You're live. I'm seeing a green dot for the microphone. So something's happening there. Live stream is up. I need the sound. You hear me? Cool. Thank you, Tiger Eye. Let's give everybody else a minute or two to find that we're back on this time. I'm glad to see that we have sound. Don't know what's up. Sometimes it works and sometimes it don't. Let's see here. I probably ought to share this in Discord so everybody knows I'm back. So let's do that. And okay, close the 27 screens I've got open. That'll probably help. Fire up Discord. Do. All right. That has been shared. Come back here. Hello, James. Have video and sound. Cool. And bring that back up. Okay. Cool. We'll give it a minute or two. Let any others that are sitting on Discord going, what happened? Yeah, you know, YouTube happens. It's cool. I'm actually thinking about also starting to share my videos and loading them up on Oh shoot, what is it? Ramble? Just so I have a secondary source out there. Because you know how YouTube is sometimes. I mean, I don't fault them for any of the fees they collect from donations and stuff like that, you know, super chats and all that junk that people can do. Because just with the limited amount of videos that I have, I could not afford the server space if I were to go out and rent server space to put my videos up. Hey, there you are, Chris. Thanks for coming back. And as I'm sure most of you know, this is my weekly finds video. What did I find when I was out around the ranch? Of course, you know there's an important find. I found myself some more rock turners. No, just a single live, I think. If there's two, cool. I don't know how the other one restarted, but that'll work. Thank you, Melissa. Anyhow, you know, the most important find for the week was somebody that will help me excavate rocks. And yesterday, I noticed one of my goats was acting different. So I went and checked on her at 3 o'clock and could definitely tell that she was having some contractions. And then at 4 o'clock, these guys showed up. Which is always cool. Yeah. They're always so cute when they're that little. That's the mama right behind them there. That's Princess. The reason she earned that name is because she acts like one. She thinks she's all of that. Plus some. Hey, R&B. Boot. Welcome, welcome. And if anybody notices that Kyle goes live, please let me know because I'll end early. I know all of us are having rock withdrawals. Okay, maybe it's just me, but you know, having those rock withdrawals can be a little bit on the rough side. So, anyhow, we did find a few things this week. Nothing real spectacular, but, you know, out here in the desert of West Texas, close to El Paso, you really wouldn't think there's much out here to be found. But within 2 miles of me, there are 2 mounds that are 80 feet high that are granite. Now we all know granite is magma wells up, forms a dome, doesn't break out to the surface, and cools extremely slow. So there was geothermal and volcanic activity in the area. Also, just on the other side of El Paso from me is Kilgore Hole, which is a collapsed crater, volcanic crater. Around it you can find peridot and olivine. And as we all know, peridot and olivine come from the mantle. A couple of 100 miles north of us, is Velez Caldera series, which is a whole series of volcanic cones. And, you know, El Paso kind of sits in the middle of New Mexico if you look at the map. And there is a whole volcanic chain that runs from actually in Arizona to the northeast tip of New Mexico. So across the whole area, there's been all kinds of volcanic activity in the past. We still have the occasional small earthquake. Stuff that people in California wouldn't even recognize as like, nothing. Out here it's something. Boot, you were at Fort Bliss. Sorry to hear that. Nah, not really. My dad was stationed at Bliss. Also Killeen, which is Fort Hood. So, yeah, I'm an Army brat. $1988. That was a little while ago. Yeah. Yeah, Roof Fortress would laugh at what we have for earthquakes out here. Largest one we had this year was a 5.4 that was centered about 50 miles east of us. Which I'm pretty sure that's in an area where they're fracking, so I'm pretty sure that's what caused that one. But even more before they started all that fracking mess over there in far east New Mexico and that edge of Texas, we still had earthquakes, and there is a earthquake monitoring station that's just 4 miles north of me. So yeah, and Rio Grande Rift, which is the Rio Grande River, is still moving at about anywhere between 1/2 to 1 inch a year, spreading apart. So we are in an active area. My favorite spots to go in New Mexico are, of course, north of Silver City, where there's all kinds of hot springs and geothermal activity, which is also where I do a whole lot of rock hunting. And it's also an area where I go to find my Apache tears. So that's cool, Chris. After I get off here, I will be watching Kyle's and probably doing a little bit of ESO myself. For those of you who are gamers, you know what ESO is. Anyhow, let's switch over to the finds for this week. Let me see. Okay. Why is my mouse quitting? Alright, what's going on here? There we go. Ta-da! Okay. So what did we find this week? Well, let's start off with this little guy right here. Alrighty. So if you see that little seam in there, you can see that chalcedony seam inside there. And it's kind of it's almost a chocolate brown. And I did start playing with this one Wednesday, and as you can see on top here, that is rhyolite, because that is actually starting to polish. We do have some oxidized iron here. Don't think it was originally pyrite. At least when I looked at it under a loupe, I could not see any pyrite in it. Although some of the spots do have that kind of a signature square appearance, which might have been a pyrite that is just weathering out. But slowly but surely, here in a week or two, I'll probably show this one again, probably have it cleaned up and polished out. But that's the one that I was playing with this week. And then we've had some small finds, like this cute little red rind over jasper. Kind of a light jasper. But I thought the red rind was pretty cool. Boy, that sucker just lit up when I found it. That one will probably just become a yard rock. It's pretty small. I like bigger material to play with. Let's see here. And then we got this one, which is some more jasper, but it's, as you can see there's some little seams of chalcedony in it. And of course, right underneath here, we've got what appears to be a little tiny ammonite. If you look closely, if I can hold it steady long enough, you can actually see the lines. There's little striation lines there. So that one I'll clean up a little bit more and be a little bit careful on. And see what that actually turns out to be. I mean, it's tiny, but it's possible out here. So yeah, that's another little cool one. Then we have just some plain Jane. So you can see it good right here on this corner. Of jasper. Of course, my lights are trying to wipe it out a little. There we go. A little bit of pinks in there. Yellow, I think, is just on the surface. But we'll find out, because this will be one of those that'll go into the slicing pile, which I plan on doing live slicing videos. Probably next month or the end of this month. That's true. That could be a chronoid. Because I have found plenty of chronoid cast. I have yet to find an actual chronoid. So if I can chip around that and clean around that, and if it's an actual chronoid, that would really be cool, because that'd be the first one I found that's actually a specimen. And then another little jasper. Some of these have some interesting little spots on them. You can see the host rock on the side there. This one's probably going to be another yard rock. Don't know what's with that spot, but don't think it's fossil. And these are the ones that I really like. Because here we're getting into that nice pinkish red jasper. Almost kind of like a mookaite almost, from the looks of it, because it does have yellows inside of it and reds and oranges. and the white. I've actually got a couple of those today. So even though this one's got some pretty good fracturing going on in there, we're still going to try to slice it and see what we can do with it. Maybe make a freeform cab or two. So yeah. There's another one of those. Yellows and pinks and whites. Oh my. Of course, this one on the outside's pretty much encrusted. You can see little hints right there on the end of what's inside. This will be another one of those that goes to the cut pile that we'll be slicing. Like I said, starting the end of this month or next month when it's cool enough where my camera will not overheat. Because the area that I have to do my shooting at and my cutting at is outside, unfortunately. Love to have one of those little small trim saws that I could set up in a shop somewhere, but right now I've got my Harbor Freight Special that sprays water everywhere. Put it this way, I learned from watching Rookie that when you use it with the wheel turning this way, and you cut into it, pulling it towards you, because everything that way is going to be drowned. The saw works, no complaints about it. I've had it for 3 years now. I think I'm on my second blade on it. But it works, and it cuts. And it does a fairly good job. It's just nothing fancy. Someday, maybe. We shall see. I actually canceled my trip this year to New Mexico, primarily because of finances. It does cost some money to do those trips. There's a little something going on right there that's interesting. One of these days, microscope is on my wish list also. So we can get in there real close and look at some of these. A couple little bugs there. Nothing special. Probably another yard rock. This guy had a bug in it though. So I'm not sure what that may have been. Could have just been a gas bubble, who knows. But another jasper. Primarily what I found this week has been jaspers. And then we got a little something right there in the bug. So yeah, don't know. Of course, iPhone only focused so much. So yeah. Then we got good ones to cut. This one has some definite banding to it. So you can almost see a little curl of something in there. And this is, on this end, you see this. This is the kind of material that we find a lot of our fossils in, is this layer. Mostly brachiopods, chronoid casts, bivalves. Still would love to find a nice size ammonite out here, which there is an area that I do want to go to that I've got to get permission from the rancher. There is an area out here where there is a section of shale on the geologic maps. So yeah, I want to go there. I want to go bust some shale and see if I can find anything in there. How much is a Harbor Freight saw? I am not sure. I think when I got mine, I paid like $80 or $90 for it. And I know Lapidary Dave, in his early days, had actually taken one of the Harbor Freight saws and turned it on its end and bought flat laps and used it as a flat lap machine with a drip pump going on to it. I've actually thought about that. Here's a nice red jasper that's thick enough to do a cab or two out of. It's interesting, one side's real red and the other side's got a little red streak in it and then kind of brownish yellows. And then last but not least, and this guy was pretty interesting. I think most of it is skin color. Let's see here. There we go. But you can see there's some little bits of dendrites in there. Get past the crust here. Look at that. That is going to have some interesting stuff going on the inside when I slice it, I believe. That's what I'm hoping for anyhow. So yeah. When we have our cutting videos, it'll probably be mostly cutting. So that was the rocks I found for this week. And of course, the big find of the week was the baby goats. They're cute. Mama's a good mama. She's very protective of them right now. She is not very happy with visitors right now, which I don't blame her. But yeah, it's cool. So that's pretty much what I found this week. There was a few other pieces that I did find that when I got to looking at them closely, it was like, okay, yep, we don't need to be looking at limestone. We have found some cool stuff out here though. I've got a couple of death plates that we found over by the arroyo coming off of our stock pond. This year, unfortunately, we have had no rain. And our monsoon season starts in July and runs through September. And this year we had nothing. We are 9 inches behind on our rainfall this year. So I have not gone down into the arroyo because no material has moved in any way, shape, or form. Trying to get things set up and arranged so that I can do my Silver City trip possibly in April. I like to do my trips and traveling while kids are in school. Um, for me, it's just a whole lot simpler to not have the campgrounds packed and crowded. Um, Especially where you've got the BLM free camping. They um, off off grid camping, you want to call it that. But hopefully we'll get to do that in April. I am getting things set up in a one of those metal containers to start running my vibratory tumbler. I still got to make a run to Walmart and pick up RV antifreeze. That's what I use during the winter time to tumble with. For any of you that might be in an area that freezes, hey, it works. I label each jug as to what grit I'm using in that liquid. So, like, I'll have 4 jugs there. One will be rough. One will be the, what is it, 120, then the 220, and then the polish. Each one of the jugs is labeled, so when I pour the liquid off, I pour it off into a jug. That way I can continue reusing it. What grit falls down in the bottom isn't going to make a difference. It'll stay in the bottom because I will sit there and remove the liquid from the top. Yeah, tonight I'll pick them up and actually pet them and check them all out completely head to toe. I usually let Mama have at least 24 hours with them before I do that. The last one that was born in July, Jules, she tries to crawl in my lap all the time. I've picked her up and petted her and messed with her so much, which is cool. Her I'll keep. She's female. These 2 that were just born are both males. So in 6 weeks, we have to take care of a couple things, and they'll be going up on the market for sale at 10 weeks. I don't sell them before 10 weeks. Mainly just to make sure everything is okay with them and that they're healthy and all that. I do have a select group of people who usually buy my goods, which is cool. It's nice having people that you work with all the time instead of, Joe Blow who wants to come buy a goat and they come in a car. Goats, you're not going to make sit still. And they're definitely not going to be ready to sit still if they just got taken from their mamas. The people I work with either come with stock trailers or with pickup trucks, and they've got dog carriers that we put the goats into. But anyhow, this winter we'll be cutting a bunch of rock. I've probably got half of a 5-gallon bucket right now. Some of that I'll weed through again as I'm getting ready to cut. Then I have that big chunk of crazy lace agate that I got from Kyle. I'm going to be slicing that into slabs. Just a whole bunch of material. And then I've got things like my corals that are sitting here on the desk that I want to polish that I got from Josh. Just got a whole lot of things I want to do. a whole lot of things that I'm planning on doing. So we'll see if all that. So you have both of them open. Time and space is starting to fold. Ah, the continuum is coming in. How are you doing today, that Apple guy? Glad to see you made it. But anyhow, that's the plans for this winter. That's what we hope to be doing. I know Kyle's should be starting here in about probably 10 to 15 minutes. Need to get with him and find out when he's planning on starting on Saturdays, because I may bring my time back a little bit. Maybe start at 11:30 my time, so I can make sure to have everything done and everybody have time to, go grab a sandwich, go grab a snack, refill your cup. So, Opal guy, there is no telling when it comes to YouTube. I've just learned that it does its own thing sometimes. So yeah, I'll sit there and look at it and pick out which one I like the best, and probably just make the other one private if there's two of them on there, once it gets through doing its correlation and all of its editing and different weird stuff. 5 watching in this one and 1 in the other. Hey, that's cool. If people are watching, I'm fine with it. If nobody was watching, I probably wouldn't do it. That's okay. Maybe YouTube will just add it all together when it's done, So anyhow, anybody have any questions? Anybody want to come out to the desert and buy 2 goats in about 10 weeks? Got that right, Opal guy. Let's see here. Anything else I can think of? Still working on the branding logo. Just about got that finalized. Need to talk to some people and find out where I can find those little fancy countdowns for startup and things like that. Messed with my new mics earlier, couldn't get those to work, which may have been what goofed up the first time I started, because there was no sound. Cool, thanks Chris. I will message you. Yeah, I got brand new mics that were given to me. A friend of mine had a spare set that he didn't need any longer. Which with the beard is cool, because I can clip it on my lapel. Nobody ever see it. It's covered up by the beard. This is where this mystery sound coming from. But I will get with him and make sure that I get that set up correctly for my computer. And we'll have that for next time. And that way we don't have all the excess air conditioned noise. This is my office in our ministry chapel. So we do have the overhead vents that you can hear running, and air conditioner and heating and all that good stuff. So we get all that stuff taken care of, get the mics set up. Definitely want to keep expanding items as I can afford to get them. And we all know how that is. I mean, I found it interesting that a lot of people were panicking in El Paso over the longshoreman strike, and it's like, we've got food all around us. Granted, certain things that we took for granted before the C virus came out, one of which was toilet paper. I mean, crying out loud, for all things, people freaked out and bought as much toilet paper as they could carry. It really makes me wonder, when they're so freaked out, how much of our food is actually coming from foreign countries on container ships. That makes me question what's going on in this country. Yeah, that is a interesting concern. So, and I'm sure there's a whole bunch of people that wish they had a whole bunch more supplies that were in the path of Hurricane Helene. I know some of them I've conversed with, and they were like, they had some stuff, they didn't realize how fast they were going to go through it. Weird fruit, coffee, olive oil, palm, coconut, spices. Yeah, I could see that. But I mean, let's face it. You go to Sam's Club and get one of them spice jars. It's like this big. It's like a quart. That lasts a long time. You know. Now, coffee, I'm kind of a coffee snob. I do drink instant coffee, but I use Jacob's Chronic Gold, which is imported from Austria. So, yeah. But I always keep, at least, when I buy them, I usually buy 6 jars, which the jars are cool because they look like a faceted gem. They are a thick, heavy glass jar. I'm actually saving some because I'm planning on cutting them and turning them into glasses. Yeah, certain fishes. Caviar, I guess if you could afford it. There are some things, but it makes me wonder how little is actually being produced in our own country anymore. How much of it has actually moved away from this country because it's cheaper to do elsewhere. I mean, let's face it, doesn't matter. Fuel prices could go down and everything else. The grocery stores are not going to go down. It's a good reason, even though it's expensive, to have a good supply on hand for yourself. And I'm not talking about going out and buying all this freeze-dried stuff. I mean, for me, that's fine. Mountain House, I usually buy it, 6 of the retort pouches at a time per item. I use it camping. I use it when I'm traveling. The fact that I can put a cup and a half of water in it, seal it up, put it on the dashboard when I'm driving and have a hot meal and not have to spend $10 to $20 for lunch. Yeah. I hear you, Opal guy. I'm not the littlest guy in the world either. I do have a supply and could definitely last a little while. But it's also why I also take care of the wildlife that is in our area. Um, Even though it's dove season right now, I don't plan on taking any of our dove. Um, we've got the invasive ringneck dove, which is mostly what we see out here now. For them, there's no season, so we do have wild food that's available. I am not opposed to having goat for dinner. Um, Plenty of rabbits out here. Rather leave the jackrabbits alone. Jackrabbit isn't actually a rabbit, it's a hare. They have a very, very strong flavor to them. And if you don't cook them right, it's just almost not edible. But we do have cottontails. And we do have mule deer, although this year you're only allowed one buck. And within 12 hours you have to take it to an inspection station because there's a some kind of disease that's going around. So they're trying to monitor what's in the area. They're not allowing anybody to hunt doe this year across the entire state of Texas. That's it, chronic wasting disease, yeah. I can see they're concerned. We've got quail season coming up. I feed at least 50 quail a day. When I'm feeding the rest of our animals, I throw them out some scratch. Figure I can feed them for like $3 on $10 bag of chicken scratch. And they're more than happy. But it keeps us with a ready supply of emergency food if we need it. I'm going to have to look that up, RMB. I have, the only thing I know is I saw it in the new hunting book. I'm taking that it's one that you would not, if you saw it, you'd know it, right? Or is it one of those that just kind of deteriorates the animal from the inside? Dashboard diner. I like that. No, but what I'm saying is, I think everybody should have at least a 2-week supply of food that you use at home all the time. To me, it just makes sense. I mean, I'm not in the direct path of any hurricanes. We don't have any, monster earthquakes out here. We're not in a tornado zone, although we have had tornadoes out here. We have some dust devils that actually equal an EF1 that will pick up stuff, including small children. Late stages, you would know it. Early signs are obvious if you know what you're looking for. Cool. I'm going to look that up so I can be more attuned to it, because we do have mule deer that go to their stock tank, and I do have game cameras up primarily to protect them from hunters. The only people that are allowed to hunt on our ranch is us. Not that we go out and actively do it. Huh. Yeah, the geese will be moving this way pretty soon. when they do, we are allowed. That's if you spend the extra money for the federal migratory bird stamp. We can take one brown and one white goose. So brown or gray or something like that was in the description. I saw that and thought it was interesting because we hadn't been able to do that in years past. So evidently their population must be doing pretty good if they're allowing people in Texas to take them. Most of the time here they're too high up to actually shoot at it. You'd be shooting at the airplanes going overhead at the same time. But occasionally we do have some that do land in our stock pond and spend the night. So yeah, that's always a possibility too. But yeah, everybody should assess what their needs are in their area. Obviously, another thing is to keep some cash on hand. I mean, all these people who are investing in silver and gold and all that stuff, dollar bills will always be something that people will take. Not everybody is going to be of a mind to accept silver from somebody or accept a gold coin from somebody unless they actually know what they're doing. Most people would have better luck trading bullets. Not shooting at each other, but using bullets for trade. But everybody needs to assess for themselves. Everybody needs to assess for their own family. For those around you that you prefer, that you care about. And I think it's important to stay ahead of the game as much as possible. And I know prices are crazy right now. What I used to spend in a month just for snacks and items, now it's like for a week. You know, you go to Walmart or to whoever your favorite grocery store is, and you're lucky if you spend $50 that you have more than one bag. It's crazy. That's one of the reasons why we want to be as self-sufficient as possible out here in the desert. Yeah. So anyhow, guys, we've been on here for an hour and I've been rambling for the last 20 minutes. So join me over at Kyle's station, over at Kyle's channel. Let's patronize our friend and our rock addiction supplier. And yeah, let's go get resupplied. I mean, it's been forever. Kyle who? Yeah, our buddy over at World of Rockhounds. So I thank you guys for coming up. I appreciate it. I hope you all enjoyed this stream, and yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Probably have another one Saturday. May update the times and go a little bit earlier, but yeah. Okay. He is up. Alrighty, guys. So we shall catch you later. Everyone have a safe one. Cheers.